Hello, everyone. Recently, I got a message from someone who asked me that, who basically said that this diet, the fruitarian diet, was dangerous and that I should be promoting more about the dangers of this diet, or I should be sharing more information about the dangers of this diet. And the first thing I want to say is I don't have a particularly big audience. I don't reach a lot of people, and I'm not one of the main sort of social media or uh, speakers or leaders or whatever in this movement. So I don't have a particularly strong voice in sharing this information. So why she reached out to me, I don't know, and maybe the person she was talking about had listened to me or something. She was mentioning her sister who had orthorexia or an eating disorder or something, and that she'd lost a lot of weight and all this bad stuff had happened, which and then she said, so you should be talking about the dangers. So the dangers of this diet, if I should be open about that, are more that you will fall under the spell of poor and bad information that surrounds the raw vegan community, and sometimes is within the raw vegan community, ideas and concepts that really have no place within this sphere of knowledge, but do for some reason, and people fall prey to it. But eating disorders are not caused by the raw vegan diet or fruitarianism. And the fruitarian or raw vegan diet isn't an eating disorder in the same way that every single primate on the earth in the wild eats mostly fruit. It's not an eating disorder, it's a primate's diet, right? Um, Cows eat mostly grass. It's not a eating disorder that they eat mostly grass. It's their diet. Ant eaters eat mostly ants. It's not an eating disorder. It's not a restrictive eating disorder. They just eat mostly ants. Like that is their diet, right? And hummingbirds eat the nectar from flower, and so on and so forth. Animals have these particular diets. So eating disorders are massive, and there is millions and millions of people that suffer from eating disorders, unfortunately. And in the UK, the numbers are something like 3 million to 7 million people suffer from eating disorders. That's more than the number of vegans in the UK, I think. So it would have to be that every vegan is an anorexic or a bulimic, and that's clearly not the case. But clearly, the amount of raw vegans is less, and the amount of people that would call themselves fruitarians would be even less. And so, how many of these people are have eating disorders or are contributing to the millions of people that have eating disorders? I would also challenge the idea that this diet leads to eating disorder behavior. There are people who have eating disorders that like to hide that by coming into the raw vegan community, or this appeals to them because they see it as a way of hiding their eating disorders. It's a way for them to go into social situations and say, oh, sorry, no, I don't eat this, I don't eat that, I don't eat that, sorry, I can't eat today, I'll just go home and eat my own thing. So it's a way for them to say that and say, well, I'm actually a raw vegan, so they can use it as a mask for their eating disorder behavior. But most of the people who are serious about this say to everyone the biggest mistake people make is to undereat. People make this mistake of undereating all the time within the raw vegan diet. But the way I responded to this lady who had said, you should be talking about the dangers of the raw vegan diet, is I said, well, you should be joining with me in talking about the dangers of the standard diet that increases your risk of cancer, that increases your risk of heart disease, diabetes, high blood pressure, stroke, autoimmune disorders of all kinds, digestive disorders of all kinds, diseases of old age of all times, obesity, um, mental health issues, emotional issues, all contributed to by the standard diet. And if you were really to dive down into that, that would be so many problems, so many problems, it would be mind-boggling. The vast majority of health issues and health problems are connected with the standard diet. So the danger is the standard diet. And the delusion that we have is we see everyone seems to be okay. There is a lot of people who are able to cope with the standard diet to some degree or other. No one's coping with it particularly well, but they're coping with it. They're able to live a life. But there are other people who are disabled because of the standard diet. There are people that died in childhood because of the standard diet. There are people that died in their teenage years, in their early 20s because of the standard diet. They died because of the diet. They became disabled at an early age because of the diet. They're not out on the streets walking around talking about it, but they're somewhere. They're hidden away. There's people that I would suggest mental health issues that are connected to the standard diet, unfortunately. There's plenty of people that potentially started taking drugs, alcohol, substance abuse behavior as a connection with the lack of fruit in their diet. That's me going a bit off topic, or a bit not off topic, but that's an opinion of mine. It's not necessarily something I've got a great deal of research for, but to me, there's people that stop drinking because they start eating more fruit. Like, it happens. So I think the danger is the other side. And often when people attack you with that kind of thing, spin it around. When they say that diet's dangerous, their diet's way more dangerous. Believe me, their diet is way more dangerous. More dangerous to children, more dangerous to people in old age, more dangerous to sick people. So when people say, oh, your diet's low in minerals, or bone density, or low in vitamin D or B12 and all these things, these aren't particularly difficult things, even if these aren't particularly common things in the raw vegan scene. But even if they were, they're not particularly big. It's not as big a deal as obesity in children. Like, what do you think all the obese children are eating? What diet are they on? They're not on a vegan diet most of the time, or a raw vegan diet. Certainly not eating much fruit. Obese children, they'll be obese for life, most of them. What diet is that? It's very hard to get obese on a raw vegan diet. Extremely hard. So it's always the more dangerous diet is the standard diet. It's more, when we say a standard diet, we mean a diet that predominated by cooked carbohydrates and animal products, making the most of the diet. And you could also say refined sugar is a kind of a standard diet. That diet, a diet low in fruit, low in vegetables, is dangerous. That's dangerous. Almost no one gets out of this life on a standard diet without major disease at some point, major disease problems, having to medicate themselves just to function, just to live. So raw vegan diet isn't dangerous, but definitely it's not. I wouldn't, if I met an anorexic and they said, should I do a raw vegan diet? I'd be like, no, you need to get your head right. You need to stop not eating. You need to start eating. I don't know how to encourage someone to start eating, but they need to start off more simply, like eat again, get up to a healthy weight, and that's where they need to get. Raw vegan diet isn't that dangerous. Some of the ideas floating around this community are dangerous. Some of the things people say are dangerous. Anything that is encouraging under eating, you don't need to eat that much, eat less, that's dangerous. But that's not something I've ever told people. And the leaders, the teachers that I've ever followed, they've never said that. It's not a long-term strategy that works for anyone. it's critical that you get good advice when you do this. This is why the Fruit Festival is a good idea. If you want information about the UK Fruit Fest, you can leave a comment or you can send an email to info@fruitfest.co.uk. info@fruitfest.co.uk. I'll try and get back to you. It's important you get good information about this. Anyway, thank you very much.